I didn't see you there. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our PyData sponsor interviews. Today, I'm joined by Max Bach from ING. He's going to tell us a little bit about how ING uses open source tools from the PyData ecosystem. He's going to tell us a little bit about why ING is such a big contributor to the PyData community, both at the meetup level with hosting meetups like PyData Amsterdam, and also at the conference level as a longtime host of PyData Amsterdam, the conference. So Max, could you introduce yourself to the PyData Global audience?
Yes, thanks. Yeah, I'm Max Bach. I'm 42 years old. I am what is called chapter lead data science at ING Bank in the wholesale banking advanced analytics department. Chapter lead is it's essentially the same title as chief data scientist. I've been working there since 2019. I have a long background actually in science. I used to work in high energy particle physics for 13 years. I worked at SLAC at Stanford and also a long time at CERN in Geneva, looking for the Higgs particle, for example. And in 2015, I switched to the industry and I became a data scientist. And I started working as chief data scientist at KPMG in the Netherlands, doing big data and advanced analytics. And so since 2019, I work at ING Bank.
Max, would you like to also introduce your team at ING?
Sure. Yeah, so like I said, I work at Wholesale Banking Advanced Analytics. Wholesale banking stands for large corporate clients at the bank. And Advanced Analytics, we fall under innovation. We have about 100 people inside our team, and we make AI products. And of these 100 people, a lot of different people, data engineers, software developers, UX, product owners, these type of things. But also a lot of data scientists. We have about 17 data scientists, and so I'm one of the two managers managing these data scientists. And we work on quite a few different projects, very diverse.
So Max, tell me a little bit about the open source tools that you use at ING.
Yes, so we use a lot of them. We use all tools that help us to get the job done. And of course, we rely heavily on many of the NumFOCUS tools, pandas, NumPy, SciPy, etc. And many, I'm a data scientist. We're doing a lot of exploratory data analysis, building models. So we use a lot of things like scikit-learn, PyTorch, TensorFlow, whatever library is out there that is useful for us, that is well supported clearly, and is known, that is well, that has features that we can use, functionality that we can use. Yeah.
What recent developments in open source tools have gotten you the most excited?
Yes, that's a good question. It's related to essentially what I would say are the biggest pain points that we have at least in my team and at ING. We have a very nice data analytics platform. And it's called DAP, Data Analytics Platform. That's maintained by a lot of data engineers, software developers, and it's really great. So it's completely built on top of open source tooling. So it runs Kubernetes, Jupyter Lab that everyone uses, a lot of different database types that you can use. We use Spark, etc. And it's really nice for doing data exploration, developing models. But what I find a bit hard is actually maintaining models that are running in production. And so it's a little bit when it's out of sight. You've built something and it's running, and it's out of sight. Can be for all sorts of reasons that things break down, or maybe the data is changing over time. So I'm actually quite excited about tooling these days. That there's been a lot of development in tooling that allow you to manage models. properly that are running in production. And also manage models that you are experimenting with. So think about tools like MLflow, but also it's like more like machine learning engineering tools that allow you to do the plumbing, as I call it, um, to make sure that to make it really easy to put things into production and also to maintain it over time and to monitor it over time.
So I can ascertain that you are actually quite excited about tools that help you productionize your machine learning models. But what further development would you like to see out of the open source ecosystem of machine learning tools? Things which you think aren't quite there yet and may need some further refinement or further development?
Last year, me and a few colleagues, we built a library that we actually also open sourced, and we did that specifically because we thought we didn't see anything good, didn't see any good open source tooling out there that could do that, which is actually to monitor for population shift over time. So when your data is changing over time, and think of it as data that is being fed into models that are used to make predictions. For example, you work at a bank. You can imagine there are a lot of loan applications. Just give an example, and you predict will this person be able to pay back his or her loan. If you train your data on a certain historical data set, and you then start to apply it on new data that's coming in, but the data is changing over time, then are the predictions still reliable? Is the model that you're using, is it still performing optimally? And to do monitoring of incoming data and predictions over time, there is commercial software out there. We've been looking at open source code, but I didn't see much good out there. So we actually wrote something ourselves. We also open sourced this. I think we need more when it comes to model management.
So in your own work, you've decided to open source projects that you have initiated on your team.
Yes.
What convinced you to open source these tools? What drove you to make these tools open source rather than keep them internal and proprietary?
Yes. Various reasons. Of course, we're excited to share our knowledge in whatever we are doing. I have a long background as a scientist, where what we always did was, we 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 would always share. We would publish. We would share our work. I think it's like second nature to me. And of course, it's much more exciting to make your work and your knowledge available to others. Just like it's very useful if we can use that knowledge by others. And the other thing is that I'm convinced that by open sourcing your code and by actually getting all the details right, I mean, because you need to get a lot of details right before you want to open source it. It needs to be properly documented. The code quality needs to be good. You're actually raising the standard of your work, and also you're raising the standard of the work in your team.
Do you or your team contribute back to any community-driven open source projects?
We do, not as much. It's usually on an individual level. So we use packages. Maybe there are bugs. Yeah, we will submit merge requests if there's stuff not working. But when it comes to like the bigger packages, like in NumFOCUS, let's say you want to get something committed to pandas. Yeah, actually, one of my bosses did that a couple months ago, and he had like 100 comments that he had to go through. So that can actually be quite a bit of work. But in general, we do not so much, but yes, we do.
Did you feel like there was any barrier or any hurdle that you had to cross to even convince people to contribute back in the form of just bug fixes to existing projects? Or did that come to you and to your team very naturally?
In my team, it's very natural. People bring it up, I will always say, yeah, yes, go ahead, go and do it. Yeah.
And
No
so
question about it.
if you wanted to speak to a colleague at another organization similar to yours and convince them to upstream their changes to open source projects or to just contribute back, what would you tell them?
I think, I would just say, go for it, do it. You use it, so give back to the community. Yeah, stands to reason, I would say. Yeah. I think it comes natural for a lot of data scientists, to be honest. Maybe some of them are a bit shy if their coding standards are not that good. And yeah, sometimes with bigger, more popular packages, you do see that there are a lot of requirements you need to fulfill before before making merge requests, pull requests. But yeah, I also see that when people do have a pull request that's accepted, they're actually pretty proud. So yeah, go for it.
Do you think that contributing back to open source is something that might make a future colleague on your team excited about joining you at ING?
Yes, because I see that people who are joining my team, joining other advanced analytics teams, it's something that they really appreciate. If they can work on those type of things, yes, they like it.
Was it hard for you to convince your coworkers to use IMG Office Space to sponsor the PyData Amsterdam meetup? Was it hard for you to convince your coworkers to contribute back to the PyData Amsterdam conference?
In general, no, it's relatively easy. The there's a ING is I would say is a data-driven bank, and there's a lot of they understand that to get good people, um, you need to support these community efforts, and you need to show your face at such community efforts. So actually, it quite easy to get support for this.
How do you see that ING benefits from supporting the PyData Amsterdam meetup, the PyData Amsterdam conference, or the PyData community in general?
I would say two things. On the one hand, it shows to the community here in Amsterdam that we are an active player in the field of data science, and so that we are an interesting place to work. And so it's a good way for us to attract potential new people. And the other thing is that yeah, it's a very nice platform for people to present their work. They really like it when if they could have spent half a year or maybe a year on building a really good model. And of course, working at a bank, you can't say all the details, but usually you can say enough that you can still share all the exciting stuff and your learnings with an audience. And so it's good for them. Yeah, I think it's a very good skill to learn, and this is having a podium for this is really good.
How does contributing back to the PyData Amsterdam community help you specifically?
Yes, well, it's of course it's nice to get to know other people. That's good. But one important reason for me, like I said, is also because I'm a manager of data scientists as well, and to make them grow, um, they need a podium where they can show their things. So if they prepare themselves, make a good presentation, and people are excited, I'm also excited.
What is your favorite open source tool?
The introduction of notebooks, Jupyter Notebook, has really made doing data science and exploratory data analysis has made things so much easier. So clearly I use a lot of tools, but I'm always using them in Jupyter Notebooks. And before if I've written code before porting it to actually before writing an actual library out of it. But yeah, I'm always falling back on Jupyter Notebooks.
How has Jupyter Hub changed your life?
Professionally, yeah, it's made things a lot easier. Also, sharing results with your colleagues is a lot easier. You share the notebook, please run it again. Same with Docker, for example. If you use the same Docker images, everything is consistent. You can reproduce results, bugs, these type of things. Yeah. So I think in that way, it's made life easier.
How has the proliferation of high quality open source tools for machine learning changed the nature of your work?
Well, I would say, professionally, I would say it's opened up sort of a huge field of new work because, with all these open source tools that have become available both for sort of doing advanced analytics and big data, Before I worked at ING, I worked at ING, which is a consultancy firm, and we did projects for other companies, yeah, investigating their data and sort of extracting insights from them, building models from them. And the fact that that's only possible because these tools were around, and you could make it. It was very easy to set up like a new cluster, and you'd have your tools available to start analyzing data within no time, essentially. So yeah, it's open. It's in my day-to-day work at ING Bank. We use it all the time. Um, but also it's just made it so much easier to start doing new projects.
What does your team at ING do?
So there are multiple advanced analytics teams at ING. We have about 9 big ones. So I work in one of them. I'm what is called a chapter lead data science. So it's not like a motorcycle gang, but I manage a team of data scientists. There are 17 data scientists in the 16, 17 in the team, 2 managers. And we work on multiple projects, which are very diverse. We fall under innovation. The team is called Wholesale Banking Advanced Analytics. We fall under innovation, and we essentially pick up anything that can help the bank, which could be like using NLP techniques to scan through big loan documents. It can be anti-money laundering efforts. It can be helping predict currency prices, these type of things. It's extremely diverse.
So you've been at ING since 2019. What made you most excited to join your team at ING?
Yes, good question. So before that, I did data science consultancy, and those were projects that typically lasted a couple of months. And the work that I do now at ING, in my advanced analytics team, we really build products from A to Z, and that typically takes longer than a couple of months. So we go from inception all the way to users using the product and getting their feedback and improving things. And that just takes a longer time. So we actually have the time to make really good products, including advanced analytics models, which is what we do as data scientists there. So that was a big important reason for me to start working at ING. And ING is I see that they're really committed to doing data science, good data science, and to use it to help the bank.
So is ING hiring data scientists?
We are always looking for good people, and you can always reach out. Yeah, definitely.
So Max, what would make a candidate really stand out for you?
It can be multiple things, but in general they need to impress me in some way, or also the other people that I'm interviewing with. It can be we usually make them do a test. It can be that they are performing really well at the test. They have a really original solution, but it can also be that their background knowledge is really good, or their code quality is really good. And there needs to be something, or it's really what they did a really good exploratory data analysis in their exercise, and they really went deep, and that needs to impress us in some way. If you get a lot of applications, you need to stand out. It's always a question to ask: how do you differentiate? How are you different from other data scientists? What are you really good at?
Max, I understand one of your team members is going to speak at PyData Global. Are you excited to see their talk? Can you tell us a little bit about what they'll be speaking about?
Yes, it's actually one of the people that I work with closely. She's called Lorraine Almeida. She's a data scientist working in London, actually. Our team is spread out over multiple places. And she will be talking about advanced entity matching at scale. I can introduce the topic shortly, is that we of course, as a bank, we have a lot of transactions coming in and going out. For example, we're interested in when you have outgoing transactions, We want to know if, say, the names on those transactions, if they can actually be connected to any known clients at ING to get a better picture of a full picture of a client. So that's actually a very computationally difficult problem, has a lot of interesting data science angles. So we want to match names to known names, and it's a big problem. Very interesting. Please take a look.
So Max, is there any final words you'd like to leave with the PyData Global community?
Yes, please go check out. There are 2 talks by ING given at PyData Global. Please go check them out. They're very interesting. Maybe also please check out the open source contributions by ING. You can find them at github.com/ing-bank. Please contribute to open source.
Thank you everybody for joining us in this PyData Global sponsor interview with Max Bach from ING Bank. It was really interesting hearing a little bit about how ING Bank uses these open source tools. And I'm very happy to hear that ING is a big supporter, not only of our PyData meetup and conferences, but also of the PyData ecosystem itself in the form of making direct contributions back to the projects and originating their own open source projects. Thanks, Max.
Thanks, James. Much appreciated.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll see you all next time.